What's up, y'all? Justin here, and I'm back with another news story, and it's a juicy one, and I can't wait to get into it. But before we do, these videos that I do on the news stories, I'm doing them so that way I can help try and promote my mom and get her to stream more often and more consistently. So I'm putting these videos out there and putting this disclaimer up front to say, hey, if you could do me a huge favor, the links are down in the description below. If you could go give my mom some motivation, some encouragement, some love, and tell her to get back into streaming. She's an amazing streamer, and she has so much fun when she does it, but she gets really, really nervous. So if you could go give her some love and say, hey, moms, we love when you stream. We just want you to do it more often. If you do that for me, I'd greatly, greatly appreciate it. So, all right. Let's get into the news. And boy, this is a great news story. I mean, I don't know what's up with this week, but there's been some bangers of news stories. This one I saw earlier this morning. It was from one of my other favorite Twitter follows, Nibel. He put out new Resident Evil project to be revealed on September 9th at 3 p.m., whatever time that is. Not really sure. We'll figure out the time here in a little bit. But I love how they do this. I love Resident Evil. They're so sneaky. I don't know if you guys remember back in whenever Resident Evil 7 was first announced and everybody was like, oh shit. Because like the way that they put RE7 in there was super, super cool. Nibel goes on to say, Project Resistance gameplay will be shown at TGS 2019. According to the website, this will be the world's first look at the game. And also, which is really rad, Capcom just killing it lately. The people that are at TGS, if they register in advance, they're going to be able to play the game, which is really freaking rad. This is what I love about Twitter. So it keeps going on. The threads keep going. And it says, someone found tiny Project Resistance thumbnails from the YouTube link. This was a Reddit user. And according to Nibel, and more or less when I was looking at the pictures as well, the images that he posted, it says, he says it definitely looks like a 4-player co-op multiplayer game to me. So you go through these photos and see these are super grainy photos, these ones right here. So this is what that Reddit user found from the YouTube image links, I guess, the thumbnail links. I don't know how people do that on YouTube. I mean, I've been on YouTube for many, many years, but I don't know how people like find the random thumbnails. This happens all the time. There was a Borderlands user or a Borderlands YouTuber that was like combing through like scheduled live streams and finding the YouTube thumbnails for those, and they were basically new weapons, the characters that were going to be in Borderlands 3, and this person leaked it way beforehand. So it's just wild to me what people find on the internet. It's crazy. What was badass is that Nibel got some amazing, high quality, high res images. Looks rad. I can't even tell that this is a freaking video game. So with some of these images, I mean, look at this chick. That RE engine, man. Ooh, man, gives me goosebumps. It's so damn good. Resident Evil 2 looked phenomenal. Resident Evil 7 looked phenomenal. The character models, the Resident Evil engine is damn impressive. So here's a few more of the images, and yeah, here's what Nibel was talking about, how it looks like it's a 4-player co-op multiplayer game. It's 4 characters. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a 4-player co-op game, online, offline, however Capcom decides to do it. But whenever you do have your assets that you put out there early like this, and there's 4 characters, and it looks like each one of them has a gun, each one of them looks like they're about to take action, most of us can infer, and probably infer correctly, that it is a multiplayer game. I'm hoping that it is. I would absolutely love that. Here's a little bit more of it. It looks like this could be the potential main character. Looks like he's about to pull out a nice little, is that a rifle? Looks like he's got a rifle he's about to shoot somebody with. So yeah, there's some really cool images. And then this person immediately picked up and said, might be an Outbreak game, since Resident Evil Outbreak.com got updated to say okay, which I didn't actually look down this rabbit hole. Yeah, and it just says okay. That's the only thing it says right there. which is interesting. I really love this tweet from Susie. She's at the Spear Hunter. It says RE Engine, multiplayer RE game that is basically Outbreak with character creation, but also plays like Resident Evil 2 remastered. Would be so sick. And she also likes the blonde lady, but I mean, I do too. Blonde lady looks badass with that. I don't know what they call those things, but they look like they would hurt. IGN went on to report on the story. Leaked images for the teased Resident Evil Project Resistance point to potential 4-player co-op gameplay similar to Resident Evil Outbreak. So this was the story that was on IGN.com. I think I just said IGM. I think it's IGN. And it was the Reddit user 5-Eye Samurai that discovered the initial images from the Project Resistance trailer thanks to a YouTube thumbnail grabber tool, which they used on the live stream URL. Insane. I love the internet. Sometimes it's just so great. It says the image shows a group of 4 people in civilian clothing, which may potentially point to a 4-player co-op game, perhaps akin to Resident Evil Outbreak. Clear image were subsequently posted by Twitter user Nibel. Those are the ones that I just went through and showed you guys. A little bit more details, a little bit more backstory. Capcom is teasing a new Resident Evil project, which it will reveal at Tokyo Game Show this September. So we talked about earlier. The tease comes in the form of a website titled Project Resistance. The R and the E title are shown in red among other white letters, making it fairly clear that the game is a Resident Evil title. Again, similar to what they did to Resident Evil 7. And even on Resident Evil 2, I'm looking at my deluxe edition right now, and the R and the E are both in red. Everything else is in white. So that project's going to be shown on September 9th. I said at 3 p.m. UTC, which I had no clue what that was. But that's 8 a.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. in the UK. And so 8 a.m. Pacific time, if I'm doing the math correctly, that'll be 10 a.m. Central time is where I'm at. Then it's going to be shown at the Capcom booth during the show, and it's going to be on stage September 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. And it looks like, according to the website, which I pulled up right here, what was the interesting thing, it shows for PS4, Xbox One, and Steam. So no Stadia, no Switch. That pretty much covers it at this point, I believe. Stadia and Switch are the other 2 platforms that a lot of games lately have been released on. But man, I am just digging the crap out of these images. I am absolutely loving this. I think that this could be so fantastic, and it would just continue Capcom's run of just making all the right choices. I mean, Resident Evil 7 was brilliant, and then Monster Hunter World, amazing. Resident Evil 2, badass. I mean, Resident Evil 2 is what everybody in the Resident Evil community and the survival horror, the survival horror community was just wanting. They were begging, pleading for that Resident Evil 2 remastered edition. And, I mean, Capcom hit it out of the park. And then Devil May Cry 5, phenomenal. If you haven't played that game, it's so damn good. It's just a blast to play. Really, really quick game. It doesn't take a whole lot, maybe 12 or somewhere around 12 hours, something like that. But I think this would be awesome. And I feel like it's going to be in the same vein of Resident Evil Outbreak, which was a game that came out, I believe, in like 2002, 3-ish, something like that. And I think that it was honestly just a little bit ahead of its time and also like limited by what Capcom did with the game, because it was a 4-player co-op online experience. But I don't know why Capcom did this, but they decided to not have any voice chat and no text chat. So literally the only thing that you could do was use little symbols and gestures that the characters had in the game in order to work together as a team to take out the zombies and the hordes of zombies and everything that the game threw at you. Not exactly the ideal experience whenever you're looking for a co-op online game. And so for me personally, I absolutely adored my time with Resident Evil 5. I know that Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 are kind of looked at as the the black sheep of the Resident Evil family, other than that Raccoon City, like whatever the hell that one game was that was an absolute nightmare disaster. But Resident Evil 5 and 6, they're kind of like, they're not really Resident Evil games. And I will agree, they were not scary. They didn't have that tense, like, edge of your seat. You're not sure what's going to come next. You've got resource management and all these things that make the classic Resident Evil games, you know, that those survival horror masterpieces that they are. It didn't have that. But what it did had was an amazing co-op multiplayer on and offline. I beat Resident Evil 5 many, many times, and it was so much fun each time I played that game with somebody that either was a veteran of the series, and we would go in and see like just how quickly we could just destroy every one of the I think they weren't the zombies, they were the Las Plagas or whatever they were in Resident Evil 5, or taking somebody that never played a Resident Evil game and giving that as an introduction to the series, which, you know, granted, I'm not going to say it's the best introduction as far as survival horror, but it was a really cool introduction to just a great online co-op game. And so if they took that online, offline co-op element of Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, but actually made it where it had the survival horror elements of RE2, RE1, 3, Code Veronica, even to some extent 4, but 4 kind of, I would say 4 went more in the vein of 5 and 6. It was just a better overall game, and the story was great. I'm super jazzed for this. I think it would be amazing to get a co-op 4-player online, obviously voice chat. Capcom, don't you do that again. Don't give us the hand gestures and the symbols that our characters can do in order to, conversate and work out strategies. Don't do that. But I think it would be so much fun. We're never going to get a Left 4 Dead 3 at this point. And honestly, I would rather have a 4-player co-op in the world of Resident Evil, especially with that new RE engine. Ooh, I get goosebumps thinking about it. So this news was great. I'm freaking loving this. I thought this was such a little fantastic random treat. Not to mention the fact that the game is going to be playable at the Tokyo Game Show, which leads me to believe that it could potentially be a January release. I know it's wild to think, but if you look at the last couple of years, Capcom has just knocked it out of the park the last few years with January releases. 2017, I want to say, was Resident Evil 7. Don't quote me on that, and you can correct me in the comments below, but I want to say January 2017 was RE7, and then January 2018 was Monster Hunter World. January 2019 was RE2. So I'm thinking we might be seeing a really quick release date on this game, and I cannot wait. I hope that it's a fantastic Resident Evil experience, and I want to know what you guys think. Are you excited for a potential Resident Evil Outbreak Part 2? I'm not going to say remastered, but like a new take on the Resident Evil Outbreak formula, because a lot of people love those games, and I think that if we modernized them and had that scary survival horror element, I think it would be great. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And like I mentioned up front of the video, please go spread some love and encouragement to my mom and get her back into streaming and sharing her love of gaming with you all.